All right, and here we are live on the Gossip Pod. It's Thursday night, May 7th. What's up? I'm Tim here with Lance. What's up, Lance?
What is going on? I like how we came on after 6 minutes because we wanted to hear the crowd. It's like before you go on stage, you want to hear the crowd like stamping their feet.
That's right.
Yeah, we had a really good conversation before we went on. We have James Renner here. We talked in depth about his new haircut, and so whoever is joining now has missed that conversation, but he's got a solid haircut going.
I mean, we could rehash it if we wanted.
We could. We could let's try to recreate the magic.
It is the kid and play look, right?
It's a high and tight.
Thanks.
High and tight.
But it looks good, and it's gonna grow out. What are you gonna do? Yep. It looks good though. I think.
What's the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut for a man?
About 2 millimeters.
About 2 days.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are. We're live on the Gossip Pod. We are talking crime, and James Renner recently, just yesterday, for God's sake, we saw some tweets about your Porchlight project, and that's porchlightonline.org. Can you tell us a little bit about this organization and why we saw articles with this organization in them yesterday?
Yes. So the Porchlight Project, porchlightonline.org, is a nonprofit that I started about 9 months ago. And it was an idea I had for a long time. I've written about crime, unsolved crime, for a long time now. And I got tired of writing about it and wanted to see what I could do to contribute to actively solve some of these cold cases. So that's how the Porchlight Project came to be. It's a collection of journalists and attorneys and former police officers, private investigators from Northeast Ohio. And we raise money for new DNA tests for these cold cases, these unsolved murders around town.
So your organization is specifically geared towards raising money in regards to DNA tests.
Yes. And cool. Our very first case was the Barbara Blatnick case. And this was an unsolved murder that happened here back in 1987. A 17-year-old girl was abducted and murdered, and her body was found near Blossom Music Center, which is kind of a big venue in this area. And that had been unsolved for many, many years. And I happened to know her sister from writing about it before. So we reached out to her. We found, anyways, long story short, they had pretty good DNA under Barbara's fingernails when they found her. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to Cuyahoga Falls Police, and they met with me, and they, for some reason, thought that I was legit. And they're like, okay, let's try this. So that became our first project. And we partnered with Colleen Fitzpatrick and the genetic genealogist at Identifiers International. And we did new tests, and then the data was given to the genealogists. And yesterday there was an arrest in the case.
Well, that's amazing.
Thank you. They arrested a man named James Zastonic, is how you pronounce the last name, Zastonic. And they announced that they used the genetic genealogists' work and their data, and it led to this man. And then the police went and got his DNA and confirmed that it did, in fact, match the sample that was found under Barbara's fingernails. So they've got this guy after 33 years, and he's sitting behind bars about 10 miles from my house right now.
Holy moly!
So
So wow, like so
yeah.
this is a case that you congratulations, God damn it! I'm so proud of you right now. This is excellent. So
Thank you.
this is a case that you'd worked on for a while, or you've written about before.
It was one that I had always had in the back of my mind when I was a reporter. And when I was working for Scene and Free Times, I never got around to it. But it was like always that next one I was going to write about. And then I started writing these books. And, you know, when it came around to forming this nonprofit, I thought, I just can't get this case out of my head. You know, let's see if we can see if this one fits, see if we can make this one work.
So is this the first case that Porchlight Project has seen from the inception to the right through the finish line?
This was our first case, and it's our first solve. We're working on one other case right now. We're raising money for DNA testing, and it's kind of a bizarre little case. There's this little town called New London, which is about an hour south of Akron. And this is probably about 4 years ago, somebody was cleaning out their barn, because there's lots of barns in that area. And they discovered these bones in the attic of the barn. And the bones were from a young woman. And nobody to this day knows who she is or what she was doing up in that attic, if it was murder, if it was natural causes. So it's a fascinating case. And we just sent those bones to the lab. And now they'll test them, and the genetic genealogist will trace back the family tree and hopefully give this woman her name back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Well done.
Yeah.
Dad said she does stuff. I remember the name. Mike, who
Colleen
are you referencing?
Fitzpatrick?
Colleen Fitzpatrick? Is that who he
Yeah.
was referencing?
Yeah, it identifies
Colleen?
international.
Yeah.
Colleen's great. She's the house of genetic genealogy. She's a genius, but she does not suffer fools. And she's the first one to tell you you're getting the science completely wrong and you're an idiot. And here's what you need to understand about this. But yes, she's brilliant.
That's what I always say about Lancey Grace. He doesn't suffer fools.
I do. It's Lancey Grace does not suffer fools. Lancey Grace does not suffer.
Colleen wrote a book called Forensic Genealogy. And do you know when it was published?
No.
1875.
2004. 2000.
What?
She saw this coming 15 years ago.
Wow. Well, wise decision. Wise decision. Teaming with her for this and identifier as international. So I want to know a little bit more about the case, though. So I'm looking here in the clevelandscene.com, and Blatnick was 17 when she was found dead 5 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
And was this guy a suspect? Do you have any idea?
He was not on anybody's radar.
Wow.
We'd never have found him without genetic genealogy. He was just I've been in contact with Barbara's sister for the last 9 months or so, and we talk about every week. Either she's texting me or I'm texting her for updates. And she I totally lost my train of thought here, guys. What were we just talking about?
Barbara's sister.
Yes. Why did I start talking about Barbara's sister? Back
about
up just a little bit.
The person of interest, Jason or James Zest.
Oh yes. Thank you. No, he wasn't on anybody's radar. Nobody would have found this guy if they weren't able to use the genetic genealogy. But the genealogist might have found a link to a friend of a friend. So he might have been one removed. And he happened to work at this factory that was about an eighth of a mile from where she was last seen, where she was dropped off by friends and was going to go visit her boyfriend when she disappeared.
So, wow. So it was just a random abduction, I guess. That's pretty rare.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a crime of opportunity. Maybe he gets off of the factory. Maybe there's a bar in between the factory and where she disappeared. That's a possibility. But the genealogists seem to think that there could be a link socially to her.
Mm-hmm. Right. To what Tim was saying right there, how it's pretty rare. I think it's pretty rare with all of these, but if just a little bit, you'll find out that at some point there was some interaction. There was some interconnecting circles with social circles interconnecting at some point, even on like the most minute level.
Right. Like a 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
We think that's a possibility.
Based on how close you
What doesn't make sense is they found her body a half an hour away from where she disappeared. So why would you? Nobody knows why you traveled that far. I was just contacted this morning by another police department, a separate jurisdiction that is looking at one of their cold cases, wondering if it's not connected to the same person because of the proximity of some of the clues in that case.
No kidding. Another unidentified or missing person?
Murdered. Unsolved murder.
Wow.
Unsolved murder. No kidding.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Same type of. Okay. Really?
Another woman, she disappeared, I think, like a mile from where Barbara went missing, and also from Garfield Heights, also strangled, and it happened about 10 years before.
Any word from law enforcement about this James guy? Is he talking or anything? Did he confess or anything after they arrested him?
No, definitely no confession. He was arraigned today and he pled not guilty, which is not a surprise. Yeah. Judge issued $1 million bond. So he's not getting out. I don't know if he's gotten an attorney yet or if he's still representing himself. But yeah, it's a mess. It's I'm not sure what the next step is. I think the next time he appears in court is about 2 weeks, but because we're still in lockdown in Ohio, nobody can actually go to the courthouse.
Right.
You say his bond was
$1 million.
Oh, you got that. You can probably probably get him out and then take him back to your place and give him the old Renner shakedown.
The Renner shakedown. Yeah. I don't know that would be the best option, and I think I don't have quite that much in my pockets right now.
Okay, but in your bank you do.
Right.
Well, yeah, in your bank. Yeah, we'll just guys go if you guys want to see justice done, go by the man who lived on Primrose Lane.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The man from Primrose Lane? Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, the man from Primrose Lane. Right, my bad.
All right. Well,
man.
I can't even give
and now that we're breaking it down and getting loose here, I am goddamn jealous that your nonprofit solved a case or helped solve a case before ours did.
We are throwing the gauntlet down now. This is a rivalry. Your nonprofit you can't do this. You can't overshadow private investigations for the missing.
I would love to have a cold case Cold War, and just try to one up each other for the next 10 years.
It's on.
See how many we can get.
It's a hot war. It's not a Cold War though. It's a hot war.
Yeah, it's a hot war. There's shots fired. Shots fired.
No, I'm thrilled that the Porchlight Project and you helped bring this case, but by God, I am more motivated than ever.
It feels very much like Game of Thrones. Like who's betraying whom? How's that for bad grammar?
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
I mean, what do we?
It should be Doctor Whom. Why is it Doctor Who? It should be Doctor Whom.
They've got it wrong for 45 years.
Right. I'll write them a letter tomorrow.
Yes, please do. I just want to so who do we have in the chat room, because they're really firing off here.
Yeah, we got Shannon, we got Rebecca Beck Seabass.
Yeah, she just did a
5078.
I gotta say, Rebecca Bex Bass here did a great true crime yellow tape trivia. So that was fun. I popped in and that didn't go well. I just wasn't very sharp, and going up against Dr. Scott and Dr. Shiloh was not really what was. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Michelle in here. We got Brock's back. Jillian. We got Pyrational back.
And Dan and Sarah. And yes, Pyrational and Brock and Jillian and Morph. This is great.
Who's guest 5078? That's the mystery guest. Grab that spot. We got that spot there. We got the spot there right next to James Renner.
It is currently locked, but we will open it up for questions.
Unlock it
at some point. Should we unlock it now?
People are salivating to get to that spot.
All right, here we go. It's unlocked. First one to grab it is in.
No whammies. No whammies. How many people
do you think grab the spot?
How many people got that reference? The no whammies reference.
Oh, press your luck.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, press your. That was the best goddamn game show. The whammy. The whammy used to come out and steal your money.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, and all the contestants were always like, and they just watch the whammy because he's entertaining. It's like, oh, what's he gonna do this time? How's he gonna steal my money this time?
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you guys the best part about the bones in the attic case that the Porchlight is taking on.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The barn in which these bones were found is 4 doors down from where my favorite suspect in the Amy Mihalovic murder grew up.
Stop it.
Right? What are the chances?
Way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. What are the chances? Like, I don't want to. We're obviously not going to really dissect the mathematical chances on this, but where was this?
In this obscure town in Ohio called New London.
In New London, obscure town.
Did I say obscure? I meant bucolic.
I gotta Google that. Hang on. So yeah, what do you take of that? Like, I mean, what's your take on that? What do you make of it?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of two things. Either, it's a prior victim, or it's bad luck and some weird coincidence that somebody else stored some girl's bones in an attic 4 doors down from this guy.
Jeez.
Oh my God. It makes you wonder what is 4 doors down from that guy, et cetera, et cetera.
Probably nothing good.
Right. What happens in New London?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Are we on the same squares on everybody's side? Like, so if I'm watching this, am I talking to Jillian?
Yes.
No, other way.
Actually, no. Actually, I'm looking at it now on Twitter.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
But Jillian has joined us. Jillian was on last week. She works with private investigations for the missing with us. And Jillian, you have an update for us, right? What's going on?
And Michelle, I want to say Michelle, who's in here, also with PIs for the missing.
Yes. What's up?
Oh, hi, Michelle.
So we did put, thanks, Michelle. So we did put some news out earlier this week. The first thing was that Lou had been helping out on the Brandon Lawson case with Jason doing that drone search. And I know you guys had talked about that on the podcast already. And then the second thing was that we did help to locate a missing man in Montgomery County, Maryland. And within 24 hours of getting involved, we were able to find him. I really don't know any other details besides that. But yeah, sometimes these missing persons cases are small victories like that, right? They're not all these big dramatic cases.
Well, yeah. How did it happen? What do we know?
I'd still say the score is 1-1.
It was like, here's a case update, and it's 2 sentences. We found a guy in Maryland in 24 hours.
How?
I have no idea.
What happened? Just by putting it out on social media?
No, we didn't put it. I didn't put anything on social media. I don't know if somebody else did. I don't even know what the person's name is. I just know it's Montgomery County, Maryland. There's a missing man. We found an address for him in 24 hours. So.
Hey, wow. Wow. Was that Lou who was working on that? And
I think so. The update came from Lou. So it was mostly Brandon, and then a couple sentences in there about someone else. We don't even know his name. I don't know his name.
That's incredible. Well, that's a great win for private investigations for the missing, and I feel like it's 2-1 now. PI
I think it might be 2-1.
Yeah, over Porchlight Project. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's 2 for us.
Yeah. So.
Is the missing man okay?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Was he actually
happy
missing?
ending and a happy ending?
He was missing to somebody. He was missing enough that somebody got in touch with us and we found him. So
Good.
You're gonna have to have Lou on to see if maybe he can share some more details.
Okay. Well, he's definitely a subscriber of us here on Get Vocal, but he is not in the chat room right now.
Unless he's the mystery guest.
Michelle just reminded me there was another case a while ago of a missing woman who had been missing for months, and we were doing some stuff on social media with that one. And somebody did see her on Facebook and make the connection that this woman in their neighborhood was the missing woman. We don't know. We were talking to the family. We don't really know if our posts had anything to do with that, but they have. So
wow.
I think that makes
it's like 4-1 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well play football score. We have, what do we have, 3 scores? So with a
21
point,
21-1.
Yeah.
21-3. Give him a field goal.
Okay.
All right.
Oh man.
Well, thanks for joining, James.
You're welcome.
So what else is going on? Do you have another a plan for a third case, James?
A third case. We have not gotten that far. We're waiting to see what happens to these bones in New London. But there is a case actually in Austin town that we're really interested in helping out with. I'm not even going to go into details because it's tragic and sad, but it's a fascinating cold case from the 70s, and they've got DNA. They've already done some testing, already done some genetic genealogy, but they haven't been able to find a decent enough match to match it back. But I think we've got more of a super team behind us. So I wanna take a stab at that one.
Okay.
What do you mean by
I think we have. I think the genealogist that the Porchlight Project is paired with is that we have better kung fu than the genealogists that have taken a look at it up to this point.
Kung fu.
Okay. Better kung fu. He's going to
There were
martial
only
arts.
there were only like 3 or 4 groups of genealogists that that are doing this. You know, it's so new. And you know, one group works on one case, another group's on another case. But you know, just like everything else, like the world of big cats, you know, there are competing tribes and personalities and all this. So it's very fascinating to see behind the scenes and how these groups work and interact and war against each other.
Very cool. Very cool.
But do you think that this is going to turn into something like
Is there an echo?
I'm getting an echo, sorry. Do you think this is going to turn into something like Tiger King with this whole different nonprofits going at it? Are we all going to start to lose our minds? Am I gonna bite Tim's arm off?
I think it could. We bring Carol Baskin into it and just make it a deal.
What do you guys think about that whole thing? You guys watched Tiger King, everybody?
Yeah, of course.
Jillian, you haven't seen it yet? No. What's your problem?
Yeah, don't. It's okay. Don't waste your time.
I'm pretty sure
Jillian.
I've seen the entire story on social media already. So.
Yeah, you should probably watch it though. It's good. You know what?
Yeah, Michelle's right. It's a train wreck.
You should definitely watch it.
It's actually getting a lot of pushback. Have you been reading some of these articles about how it just exploits the people involved and, it's one step too far?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I found it, I really found it interesting. I think it was CrimeCon's Twitter actually that tweeted out a poll. It was like, who's the real villain of Tiger King? And I thought it was like overwhelmingly Carol Baskin. It was like 78%. And I was surprised because I voted Joe Exotic. Like that guy is an absolute dirtbag. I mean, I thought they were all kind of dirtbags, but especially Joe. He's in jail.
Oh, they're all dirtbags.
Yeah.
That guy Jeff, I don't remember his last name. That guy Jeff's a friggin' that dirtbag. Like, what's really like frustrating about Tiger is that it's not like there's that much money involved. Like there's a lot of money like exchanging hands, but how much money is actually involved in like the operation of one of those parks? Like you have to put so much money into maintaining these animals.
Right.
Like how much money? Everyone's broken it, No one has like crazy money except for Doc Antiel, who is this crazy like polygamist who just rolls around in a giant bed. It just blows my mind how much money is involved in all this. I feel like there has to be something behind the curtain on this. There has to be like drug dealing that's going on. Like they're bringing drugs in through the cats, and that's how they're making. That's how they're distributing cocaine or something or meth or something.
I think it just starts with the love of the cats, really, and I do think they are obsessed with the cats. I don't know that they love them in like they treat them well, but I think they love them, and are in that they're obsessed with them. So I think that's step one, and I think it probably gradually gets worse once they start making money, right?
And I guess there's got to be some sort of like adrenaline, like power trip, like God complex when you are able to walk alongside a tiger or a lion and they're not attacking you. You get this. I mean, they essentially said it in the documentary that, you've never really experienced life until you've like rolled around with these things. These things could rip you to pieces, and they're able to go up and like shit. That's it.
Well, there must be something with exotic animals and that lifestyle, because everybody we met in that documentary was insane in very unique ways. I reported once on a guy here in Ohio who had a couple big cats, a couple tigers, but he was mostly known for his bears. And he would bring these bears into downtown Akron and take them into a bar. And people would pay. I've been to one of these that people would pay him money to wrestle one of his bears. And
wait, was this in like the? I'm sorry. Are we back in like the 1860s?
This was in 2000. I wrestled the bear in 2000. 6.
What?
Okay, exclusive. James Renner wrestled a bear.
Title of the episode, by the way.
You wrestled a
Can't
bear.
win, the bear cheats is the thing.
What?
Well, it's a bear.
And yeah, it'll pin you in like 2 seconds. Anyways,
Well, Tim, the bear knows all the pressure points.
so there's this guy who has this, these bears that he wrestles and these cats in this little zoo. And he was the last person to see a woman named Ramona Crotein before she was murdered in Cleveland many years ago. And he was never a suspect in that case. Her ex-husband ended up going to trial and acquitted. It was a whole deal. But he, after that, I learned that just like Joe Exotic, he had this group of young men that would come and hang out with him. And he wanted to be romantic with them, but they were straight. Sometimes he would pay them. So the similarities between this guy who had these cats here in Ohio and Joe Exotic is amazing. Little epilogue to that, he ends up dying about 5 years ago, and one day I'm scrolling through Cleveland.com and I see the headline and I see his name there, and he's dead. And I'm not surprised to find out that he died choking on a dildo, handcuffed to a bed.
Well, that's surprising.
Somehow, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Wait, that was in the paper?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I zone out where James never... Did James actually tell us how he wrestled the bear?
No, we didn't hear that part.
Did I zone out during that? You never... Okay.
Yeah, let's hear that part. You can't.
The bear
win.
would
The bear
grab
cheats.
you from behind. No.
Okay. Well, Jason says if you ever get attacked by a bear, you're supposed to lay down and pretend to be dead. It'll be great practice for when you're really dead in 5 minutes. Yeah.
Chat room's on fire tonight. This is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exclusives here. I went to high school with a guy who was he was a little bit stronger than he should have been. I think we all went to school with people who just seemed a little older than they were. He had a mustache in like the 7th grade. And he once said, I mean, even back then, he was like, yeah, I think I'd probably wrestle a bear. And we're like, it's a bear. It's a bear. You're not going to win.
It has 9-inch retractable claws, I mean, even if you were stronger, meter by
somehow. How long are those claws?
9-inch retractable claws.
It's 4 murder hornets.
It's 4.
Oh, that's at least 4 more murder hornets.
Shit, that's a lot because we know more. Those hornets are huge. I can't say murder.
Isn't this the craziest timeline? Here we are in lockdown, in quarantine. And then we're still 6 weeks into this, and then all of a sudden we get these things called murder hornets.
Why not? Happened in a week.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a picture of a great white shark seagull.
I heard
a great white. What was it?
A great white shark seagull.
I have a friend in New Orleans who asked this question today. Like, I asked him what's after murder hornets, and his answer was pedophile bears. So it could be worse.
Was he one of the young guys that hung around with the bear guy years ago? Is that where he got that idea from?
You know what? I would absolutely believe that. I bet that happened.
Did you guys see the documentary Grizzly
Excellent
Man?
Documentary.
Yeah.
excellent documentary. Werner Herzog, amazing filmmaker. But didn't that guy just
Timothy
piss you
Treadwell.
off? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't that just piss? What are you doing? You are going, and you think that you're this, friend of the Bears, and you're walking in there, and the Bears are, now they understand you as a friend, and then he takes his girlfriend in there, and then they just tear them to pieces because they're Bears. You leave them alone.
Yeah, that was tragic. Crazy.
Michelle, I have to point this out. Michelle has a very good point. They shouldn't technically be called murder hornets. It's better to know them as manslaughter bees.
Well, that's with the right lawyer. That's the thing with the right lawyer. They're murder hornets. They should actually have a more aggressive name.
I think they can get that down to like jaywalking flies or something. Is that what you hope for? No, I'm sorry.
No. These things are like the size. Like they're that big.
In the chat room says, if a psychic told me in January that I would be quarantined and hear a real life story from James Renner about death by dildo choking, I would have wanted my money back.
You're welcome. I'll be here all night.
Well, this is a lot of fun. Chat,
man.
Yeah. What else does anyone want to talk about? Anyone else got a topic? Anyone in the chat room? Any of you guys? Because I'm out of topics.
Well, I mean, the big topics have been murder hornets. The big topics, murder hornets. And we wanted to have you on, James, because of the developments with Porchlight. And that's really important. And, as much as we joke around in between all of the serious stuff, that is really important. And I'm curious, like, what do you do when you hear the news that this first case that you guys took on has actually come to this point?
It's just that it's a very rare feeling. And I've talked about this feeling a couple times in my writing, because I found that J.R.R. Tolkien actually coined the term. But the feeling is called eucatastrophe. And it is the opposite of catastrophe. It's that feeling that you get when things work out against all odds, and something miraculous, something wonderful happens. And I think we're lucky to feel that once or twice a year or so. What's interesting is the last time I felt like that was the day that Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus walked out of that house and Michelle Knight too, on the west side of Cleveland. And coincidentally, yesterday when they arrested James Zastonik was the anniversary, the 7th anniversary of that event, of Amanda and Gina and Michelle walking out of that house.
What's that word again?
Eucatastrophe. Yeah, it's the word catastrophe with part of the Eucharist. So he was saying it was related to Catholicism, Christian religion, and the resurrection and all that.
Jillian, did you know that word? You're a writer.
I know it from James Renner.
Before this moment?
Yes.
Okay. Whatever.
I can read them. I read books.
I can read.
I know.
Yeah, I struggle with reading at times, though.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, Shannon over here wants to know what's the latest with Empty Frames. I'm obsessed. Thank you so much for being obsessed with Empty Frames, the podcast series that Tim and I do about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. Season 1 was all about that. Season 2 was about other art crime and art news and just cool moments in art culture. Yeah, we're working on season 3, and we actually got a really good guest that's going to open up season 3, who is very close to the Boston area, very close to a lot of media that goes on in Boston, and really polarizing. I don't know. Do you want to?
Let's just say it.
Let's just say it. Yeah. So yeah, we interviewed Casey Sherman for a while, and he told us a lot about the heist, his work with the heist, his involvement with Whitey Bulger. He dished on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's got a new book out called 12, which is all about Tom Brady's battle with the NFL and Bill Belichick and Roger Goodell. And it's not about, Tom Brady's rise to stardom in football. It's about the corruption and the conspiracies in the NFL, like behind the curtain. It's really amazing. And Casey Sherman is a goddamn force, and he came with it big time.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Yeah, he was pulling no punches, even taking some shots.
The reason why we've had a delay on season 3 is because we've been going back and forth with our sort of co-producer, our co-founder of Empty Frames, because he doesn't want any mud to be slung in this whole heist topic that's going on. But listen, it's been since 1990. Nothing's happened. So there's a problem. There is a glitch in the system that needs to be fixed, and Casey Sherman identified it, as well as Turbo Paul Hendry, who we had on in season 1. There's a problem with the recovery method, and these guys have identified it. And in order to say what it is, you have to call out the people who won't change it. Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, this is a podcast called Empty Frames about art, crime, and about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist of 1990 in Boston. And we have a partner on this case too. His name's Mr. K. And actually, one of the big reasons why this has been delayed is because we're actually in a disagreement with him over releasing this episode. He doesn't really think it should get out there. So it is not without controversy, this episode. And as Lance noted, it is quite critical of the museum's recovery methods at this point.
They gave me a little
critical. Why are you guys disagreeing about whether or not to release the episode? Does he not want to criticize the museum anymore?
Well, it's not even so.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Go for it.
You can take. Okay, it's not even so. Because I'm all fired up about it. Sorry, I didn't want to steamroll. It's not even so much like being critical about the museum. It's just everybody puts forth this like good intention of wanting to get the art back, but then you see the people who are behind the museum, and it's not really like they're trying to get the art back. It's more like they're trying to sell some books about what they wrote in regards to the art theft. And there's a very simple new approach, which Turbo has and Casey Sherman backs up, that just seems to be ignored. So I don't think that it's so much like controversy in a way where people are being called out because, there's questionable, it's a questionable way that we're calling them out. It's like, you haven't done anything since 1990. So can we just entertain the notion that something should be done differently?
Well, yeah,
and they don't.
There's been no public results, and the reward is $10 million, but there's 13 stolen pieces, and the reward states all 13 need to be returned at once at the same time in reasonable condition. Reasonable condition.
So if I find what's his name on the Sea of Galilee?
Yep, Storm in the Sea.
I want to bring it in. There's no motivation for me to return that if I don't have the other 12.
That's exactly right. That's the big problem with this. That's ridiculous.
You might as well hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it.
Wait, now did we just get another exclusive?
Wait, what is that behind you on that wall there?
James, where were you?
But the museum and the FBI will say
1990.
they will say, oh, if you have one, then we'll take it. We're not going to prosecute you or whatever. We're not. They're not necessarily promising a reward. Yeah, but they are saying they won't prosecute. But again, I think a lot of people in the lifestyle of the folks who may have the art probably not trusting the feds on that word.
Could they still be prosecuted at this point? It's been 30 years.
I'm not sure, actually. Statute of liberty.
Yeah.
Is it up completely?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they can't. They can't be prosecuted on it. They're not going to be prosecuted on it.
Stole it?
Yeah. Sorry.
Like even the people that stole it, you can't prosecute them because of statute of limitations?
I don't believe you can. I believe the statute of limitations is up on that, but the museum has issued the statement basically like, listen, put it at our doorstep and no questions asked.
That's what I'm saying. Is I don't think people who would steal stolen art or come into contact with stolen art would necessarily believe the museum in that.
Right.
You know?
Right. No, they're not going to be like, okay, this thing I've had since 1990, or even if your gangster like grandfather gave it to you, or was like on his deathbed said everything in the storage unit is yours, and then 3 years after his death, you're like, oh yeah, that storage unit. You opened it up, there are all the paintings. If that happened to me, I still have no incentive to deliver that back to the museum, other than I want to return it to the museum. You know what I mean? Like I want to put it back on the walls, and I don't have any incentive that that's going to be carried out without me getting in trouble.
Go all over the media and tell your story and sell the rights to your story about how you found it and all that stuff. So there's some incentive there.
That's true.
If that ever happened, I would call up the producers of Empty Frames and I'd be like, I got a hell of a story for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's true if you don't get prosecuted or arrested for something else. You know, that's another thing the feds have done in this case, is sort of squeeze people on other charges, like gun charges, when the guy actually owned an antique store that had like muskets from the Civil War. So I'm not so sure the feds are honest either, but I think that's why they just need a price list. I mean, Lance mentioned Turbo, and that's a guy who kind of came up with the idea, just do a goddamn price list and price it out however you want. If one thing is returned, that gets this. I mean, it's so logical. It's ridiculous.
Sarah, the Fed's not honest.
Do we have to break at some point for Blue Apron?
We just did. You just did.
Blue Apron.
Better way to cook.
Better way to cook. I gotta say though, I'm more of a HelloFresh guy now. Blue Apron was great, but I gotta tell you, my God, every single dish in my house was used. It took me 3 hours. Every single dish was used, and then I had to take a picture of it to post, and I had to pose it next to the image that the recipe card that they give you, and I needed to make sure that it was exactly the way and I take the picture. I'm so fucking hungry by the time I'm done. Like I don't even taste it. And I got to do dishes for another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there buying salt and pepper for like triple, like 3 times the amount that I've ever bought salt and pepper. Everything in that was salt and pepper.
For like people that just want junk. Like just send lots of junk every night. I don't want to cook. Just send me stuff. Like what would that be?
Oh my God, that's great. You know what we'll call it? We'll call it hard artery.
Dan in the chat room says use promo code John David Booter for 100% off. Is
Dan really John David Booter? Because that'd be awesome.
Dan is Michelle's Dan. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Dan, what's up? Probably got a Miller Lite going right now.
Everybody, just in case you carry it.
Oh, sure.
Iced tea.
Sarah says HelloFresh keeps you stocked on sour cream. That is true. They keep you stocked on sour cream, and we have a whole container of little sriracha packets now.
Yeah, garlic too. That might be more of a Blue Apron specialty, though.
Is that how you pronounce it? I always thought it was like sriracha because of the R there.
Well, maybe that's how they pronounce it in Ohio.
All right. Well, we're.
Oh man, so we're wrapping down. We're coming down to the last 5 minutes.
Anyone got any questions in the chat room, or any other topics we should hit before we roll? James, you got something?
No, I just I see there's a comment from Bill Roush in the. I can't read the question. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice.
What do you say?
What's happening?
I'm joking.
He's joking.
He's not
Oh my
really there.
Oh boy, James and your antics.
Your antics. Oh my goodness. So we got some true crime shows that are coming up after us, right? We have let's see here. We got The Great Unsolved. Nope, that's already there.
they've already
I'm trying to
all
figure out their
happened,
schedule. I'm so sorry.
I don't think so.
There's nothing at 10.
Wait, is this like a block of
Yeah.
programming that you guys are a part of?
Yeah, you should get in on this block. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
It's
they've
pretty
all
fun,
happened.
you know.
Right.
Wow. Where did Morph go?
Well, Morph is at 9:30.
Oh, he's in his show.
So Morph may go till 10:30.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Everyone here just
Can I
pop
be
on
the
over to
Tom,
Morph show.
the Tom Snyder of true crime get vocal casts? Can I be
Yes.
the last one on? I'll be on at like 1:30.
No, you should be the Tom Green.
Lance, you son of
Oh, Brock Willis said, "No, you're the
That
you're
works.
Arsenio
Something
Hall."
like that.
Yeah. Well, it's the hair.
It is thinning. I'll tell you what, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Shannon. She says, "I love you, Crawlspace. You're getting me through this lockdown. We definitely appreciate that, Shannon." And she's been checking out Empty Frames and interacting on Twitter with some fun characters, namely Esther and some others. It's a lot of fun getting into it, getting crazy on Twitter.
Oh, and James just left. But Brock had a good question for James. Well, he left. Oh, he's getting his cat. No, there he is.
I got Brownie just chilling out.
What's up, Brownie?
Give me the old stink eyes over there.
So Brock had a question for you, Renner. I think that it's so funny that people just call you by your last name.
Right.
What is the biggest perk and downside of being you?
The biggest perk is my lovely wife. Where is she? Julie. Where is she? I don't know. I just earned some brownie points there, though.
Nice.
The biggest downside, well, definitely social media, I'd say, and anything to do with the there's a very small cult around the Maura Murray Maura Murray case. Some real weirdos there. Just a couple. So, other than that,
the state police, is that what you're talking about?
no, not the.
Just kidding.
I mean, don't besmirch the New Hampshire State Police, James. I mean, we're
Not
2
really
minutes
say that.
left.
You've been
Look,
working with law enforcement in Ohio, and you just say that like that?
Are we about to get into the car 001 business right now?
Yeah.
Hey, if you really want to go there with 2 minutes left in the hour.
Well, if we got Art Roderick on, he would tell us exactly what happened with car 001, and it would take much less than 2 minutes.
I like Art. He's a good guy. I'm more interested in really need to 04. Nobody's asked that question.
Wow. Car 004 is...
We haven't gotten to 2 yet, James.
What's that?
We discussed 001 and 002. We haven't gotten to 4 yet.
Yeah.
After all these years.
You can't skip.
You guys can't handle it.
You can't skip
handle
003 though.
What about 3?
You haven't heard?
No.
I'm not going there.
Oh my God. I feel like we just stepped in
Oh,
something
man.
right now.
Or either that, or we just got to keep going. Well, no, this is great. Yeah.
What's the next big case that you guys are showcasing on Crawl Space? What do I have to look forward to? Give me a teaser.
I feel like what you just said with 004 was like asking about World Trade Center 7.
Number 7.
Like everyone's like, huh? Yeah. I'm still
you
like
joke.
stunned.
You joke about World Trade Center 7, but
I would never.
I wrote. I was at the Free Times at the time. I was a reporter in Cleveland, and I don't know if you know this, but Cleveland plays a big part in the whole 9/11 conspiracy theories.
No.
Because yes, you look into it, they believe that Flight 93 never crashed into Pennsylvania. It actually landed at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So I'm writing about this, and I question, like, this was before the commission came out and everything, and I got to question some of these congressmen, and they were on this panel, and this guy who debunked every other conspiracy theory, you know, jet fuel and steel beams and all that, he's like, that's all bullshit, you know, planes hit it and everything. And I said, well, what about Building 7? And he said, we can't explain that, and it doesn't make any sense. And they wouldn't give us answers. They wouldn't talk to us about that, like the CIA and the people on the inside. He said, we know it shouldn't have happened, and I have no idea how to explain it. But if ever there was some piece of the conspiracy theory, it was about that building.
You don't want to get this going at 10:02.
And definitely don't get started with this with Art Roderick. We've actually seen that before, and he doesn't like the 9/11 talk.
Oh, I'll bet.
No, but he has to open his eyes at some point. Art and I did have a good conversation about 9/11 right after he was like, here's this U.S. Marshal pin. I want you to have this because I see it in your eyes. You have the drive pin. And I was like, thanks.
You have the drive, kid. That's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean,
what really happened was they were like yelling at each other at like 1 a.m, really drunk about 9/11.
I think I got my point across there. I think he really walked out of that. I think he walked out of that conversation with a different outlook.
Well, I don't know.
Yep.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, James Renner. Thank you, Jillian, for joining us here on the air. Thank you to everyone in the chat room and listening live on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, or wherever you're hearing this right now.
I just want to take this moment to apologize to everybody who decided to tune in for some decent true crime talk.
We had
feel like I railed it.
No, we had like a half an hour of it. What can you do? It's 9 p.m. on Thursday.
Good.
That's a no crime talk hour.
Look, go to Morph, and he starts at 9:30, and he's all crime all the time. You know.
No, yeah, Morph. If you want to go tune into Morph Show, you got to get in your bed. You got to take off your clothes, get in your bed.
Yeah.
Get your phone at a real seductive angle.
And if you start talking about murder hornets,
in.
he's gonna bounce you right away. It's crime all the time.
Right, unless it's a metaphor.
Bigfoot, yeah, that's right, Michelle. He'll take some Bigfoot talk though.
I've got a gin fizz waiting for me over here.
Okay.
What are you in the 40s?
It's a fast gin fizz.
Who's got a gin fizz waiting? How do you make a gin fizz?
In a solo cup.
You know what's fun about this cup is it looks like a solo cup, but it's totally ceramic.
Nice. Eco-friendly.
Wow.
It's ironic.
Wow. Exclusives. Nonstop. I'm going to have to get the vacuum cleaner for how many exclusives we've dropped here tonight.
I'm going to go drop an exclusive.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Stop broadcast.